This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple? You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not, first love's kiss can break any curse.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White.
Right.
You should shut up and do the job.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Okay, buckle up, babes, because we are diving head first back into a Hollywood saga that just keeps delivering the drama. You thought the last chapter of the Rachel Zegler Snow White situation was wild? Honey, hold my metaphorical iced coffee because The Simpsons just dropped a nuclear-level roast and Rachel is reportedly not laughing at all. Hey y'all, it's Madison here, back with some scorching hot Hollywood drama that has more layers than a red carpet gown and more plot twists than a season finale of, well, pick your favorite messy reality show, and trust me, this one is juicier than a summer blockbuster premiere night gone wrong. We're talking about the one and only, the currently keeping a very low profile, Rachel Zegler. Remember her? The actress who was supposed to be Disney's next big princess, their shiny new Snow White. Yeah, well, things have gone just a tiny bit sideways, like off the rails into a ditch, set on fire sideways. And just when you thought the dust might be settling on the epic fail that was her take on the classic tale, Springfield decided to weigh in. And honey, when the Simpsons weigh in, they don't pull punches. They go straight for the jugular with a chainsaw made of pure, unadulterated satire.
Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, like, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
I stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why
now,
would they
too?
get rid of the dwarfs, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage, there's power of being on TV, there's power of television, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
Smash that like button if you live for celebrity drama and subscribe if you don't want to miss a single drop of this tea because trust me, it's overflowing. Ring the notification bell too because this story is far from over and you know I'll be here to spill every last detail. So the latest dagger in the already wounded heart of the Snow White reboot, the iconic, the legendary, The Simpsons. They are dedicating a segment in an upcoming episode to absolutely drag Rachel Zegler and the entire Snow White debacle. And the title of the fake in-universe movie they're parodying, are you ready for this? Because it is chef's kiss perfect in its savagery. It's called, wait for it, Snow Woke the Reimagining.
You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs, it's 4 dwarfs. You know?
Let that sink in for a second. Snow Woke, the reimagining. It's not subtle, is it? It's loud, it's proud, and it's pointing a giant 4-fingered cartoon hand directly at the eye of the storm that has surrounded this movie from the jump. This isn't just a gentle nudge or a lighthearted jab. This is The Simpsons, a show known for its razor-sharp wit and brutal cultural commentary, taking aim at one of the biggest Hollywood misfires in recent memory. And guess who is right in the crosshairs? Our girl Rachel Zegler. This parody is reportedly a total, complete, utterly merciless mockery of Disney's attempt to take a beloved, nearly 100-year-old fairy tale and give it a, shall we say, modern update. You know, the kind of update that involves calling the original source material weird and outdated, and the charming prince a stalker. Yeah, that kind of update. The kind that alienates the exact audience you are hoping to bring into theaters. Rachel Zegler, bless her heart, is already drowning in a sea of bad headlines. It's like a daily tidal wave of negative press. Fan hate? Check. Box office shame? Oh, honey, double check. And now she gets to add roasted by The Simpsons on national television to her ever-growing list of public embarrassments. It's almost impressive in its scale. Almost. Remember the box office? Or should I say the lack of a box office? It was reported that the live-action Snow White was completely and utterly crushed by, wait for it, a movie about pixelated blocks. That's right, Minecraft. A movie based on a video game where the main activity is digging holes and building rudimentary structures reportedly left Disney's shiny, woke Snow White in the dust. Humiliated, like seriously humiliated. Disney reportedly never in a million years expected that casting Rachel and letting her steer the narrative the way she did would result in the potential ruination of one of their most iconic, most cherished, most magical fairy tales. Snow White is foundational Disney. It's the one that started it all, and to see it brought low like this, by its own star, it's cinematic tragedy, folks. Pure, unadulterated, popcorn-worthy. Let's be real, before this whole Snow White saga exploded, most of the general public hadn't really heard of Rachel Zegler. She had her moment in West Side Story, which was critically acclaimed, yes, but it wasn't exactly a mainstream household name-making event for everyone. Her fame, for a large chunk of the population, seems to have truly arrived when she started, well, to put it mildly, running her mouth about how much she fundamentally disagreed with the story she was hired to embody. Oh, the irony, it's thicker than a Disney animation budget. And the proof was in the empty theaters. Remember those viral videos? People filming themselves walking into showings of the live-action Snow White where they were literally the only soul in the auditorium? Just them, the giant screen, and the echoing silence of a cinematic dream, dying a very public, very lonely death. It wasn't just a flop, it was a spectacle of a flop. A cautionary tale projected onto a giant screen for the world to see, or, not see, as the case may be. And now, to pour salt on those gaping, empty theater wounds, The Simpsons are turning her into a punchline, a joke seen by millions, a cultural moment of mockery that will likely live on in clip form forever on the internet. Sources reportedly close to Rachel Zegler are saying that she is absolutely furious about this. She is not laughing, not even a little chuckle, not even a forced, polite Hollywood laugh. She is reportedly livid that she's now the butt of jokes on one of the most influential and long-running television shows in history. And honestly, can you blame her? Even if you disagree with her takes, becoming a Simpsons character is a moment, a very public, very permanent moment in the pop culture Hall of Shame. The cartoon version of her, reportedly named Rachel Z in the episode, paints a picture that, let's be honest, a lot of her online critics have been painting for months. She's depicted as a tone-deaf, self-obsessed girl boss who is completely out of touch with reality. Ouch, that stings. And the worst part for Rachel, a lot of people seem to agree with that assessment based on her past comments and public appearances. It's like the caricature is hitting a little too close to home for comfort. And as if things couldn't possibly get any worse for our embattled almost princess, while the Simpsons are busy sharpening their animated knives for their brutal roast, Rachel herself has seemingly gone into hiding. Poof! Vanished. Just days after reports surfaced that Disney, the Mouse House itself, had asked her to essentially pay up for the total disaster that Snow White turned out to be. The actress, who has been smack dab in the center of massive, unrelenting controversy for what feels like an eternity, has suddenly disappeared from the spotlight faster than you can say, "I am not saving the prince." No interviews, her social media presence has reportedly gone silent, or at the very least, extremely curated and cautious compared to her previous, unfiltered approach. Nothing. Crickets. The silence is so loud it's deafening, isn't it? This quiet retreat is exactly what many critics and industry insiders have been saying for months she should have done from the beginning. Maybe keep a lower profile, maybe don't bash the source material, maybe just act in the movie you were hired to act in. But hindsight is 20/20, and here we are. And now Rachel Zegler, who was already drowning in a tsunami of bad press and public disapproval, is getting dragged, not just by anonymous internet trolls or angry commenters, but by The Simpsons. One of the most legendary, most watched, most culturally significant shows on television history. Let's be real, babes, this might just be her single most embarrassing moment yet. It's one thing to have your movie flop, it's another entirely to become a punchline in Springfield. That's a whole different level of public shaming. It's all so weird, isn't it? The whole trajectory from being hailed as the next big thing to being roasted by Homer Simpson and his animated crew. To understand how we got here, you really have to rewind the tape. Go back to what was, for a brief, shining moment, a real-life Cinderella story in the making. Rachel Zegler was the Hollywood dream personified, a young, talented newcomer who blew everyone away with her performance in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Critics raved, awards buzz followed. She was the it girl, the chosen one. And then came the call from Disney, the big one, the lead in their live-action adaptation of Snow White. It should have been her coronation, her moment to solidify her place among the Hollywood elite, her biggest, most magical moment. But almost as soon as the project was announced, like a poisoned apple, things started spiraling. And not necessarily because of production issues or the script itself initially. No, the drama started swirling from the discourse surrounding it. And who was driving that discourse? Well, largely, it was Rachel's interviews. Instead of sticking to the script, pun intended, and focusing on the legacy of Snow White, the historical significance of the character, or her genuine excitement to take on such an iconic, beloved role, her soundbites took a hard left turn. They leaned heavily into criticism of the original 1937 animated classic. It was a choice, a very public, very baffling choice. In one now infamous viral everywhere clip, she very casually mentioned that the prince in the original cartoon literally stalks her, and that the entire story felt weird and outdated to her. Record scratch? The internet, as you can imagine, collectively lost its mind. It exploded like a glitter bomb in a small, enclosed space. Yeah, weird, right? For so many fans, especially those who grew up adoring the original film, it wasn't just a modern take or a fresh perspective. It felt like she was actively mocking, disrespecting, and undermining the very foundation of the classic fairy tale that she was being paid a hefty sum to represent. It felt like a betrayal of the magic. And the backlash? Oh, honey, it just kept growing, like a giant, angry beanstalk. Especially as more and more interview clips popped up online showing Rachel expressing similar sentiments, while a small corner of the internet hailed her as bold and modern and a breath of fresh air. The overwhelming majority reaction was not positive. To most people watching, the public persona of Disney's new Snow White came across as arrogant, dismissive, and completely, utterly out of touch with the sentimentality and nostalgia surrounding the character. The phrase "girl boss Snow White" started trending online, and trust me, it was not being used as a compliment. It became shorthand for everything people felt was wrong with the approach to the reboot, and specifically, Rachel's public attitude towards the source material. Suddenly, everything Rachel said was being picked apart with a microscope. Every quote from an interview, every comment on a red carpet, every public appearance seemed to spark a fresh wave of outrage and eye-rolling online. The excitement that should have been building for the movie was replaced with a growing sense of dread and annoyance among potential audience members. Instead of anticipation, fans felt like the magic, the charm, the point of Snow White was disappearing right before their very eyes, chipped away by critical soundbites. But wait, it gets juicier. As if the self-inflicted interview wounds weren't enough, another element added fuel to the fire: her awkward dynamic with her co-star, the stunning Gal Gadot, who was cast as the evil queen. During press events and award shows where they appeared together, people couldn't help but notice the strange body language, the lack of warmth, the palpable distance between them. At the Oscars, where they presented together on stage, it was impossible to ignore. Fans online observed zero chemistry, minimal interaction, and an overall vibe that suggested these two were not exactly braiding each other's hair backstage. Rumors began to swirl faster than a witch's potion that Gal Gadot, ever the savvy Hollywood veteran, had chosen to distance herself from the growing controversy surrounding her young co-star's comments. The whispers behind the scenes. Reportedly, things weren't exactly friendly or collaborative between the two leading ladies. More drama! Of course. As all this public and rumored behind-the-scenes chaos was unfolding, Disney, the usually PR-savvy behemoth, remained unusually quiet, like crickets chirping, tumbleweeds rolling quiet. There were no major course corrections in messaging, no attempts to rein in the narrative, no visible effort to address the growing public relations crisis. It was just business as usual, which in hindsight looks less like calm confidence and more like deer in headlights paralysis. But the silence from Disney didn't make the problem go away. The film itself, the actual product, wasn't connecting with audiences. The buzz wasn't good. The word of mouth, what little there was, wasn't positive. When the live-action Snow White finally hit theaters, armed with Disney's full marketing machine, the posters, the trailers, the promotional tie-ins, it landed with a thud. A quiet, awkward, embarrassing thud. Ticket sales were flat, like pancake flat. The sheer name recognition of Snow White, one of the most famous characters on the planet, couldn't save it. The movie quickly cemented its place as one of Disney's most divisive, most troubled, and most financially disappointing remakes. It wasn't just a flop, it was a high-profile, deeply scrutinized failure. And that flop, that very public cinematic faceplant, is now forever locked into the annals of pop culture history, thanks in no small part to that brutal Simpsons parody. Classic Springfield sarcasm delivered with precision, slicing straight to the bone of the issue. What should have been Rachel Zegler's breakout moment, her triumphant arrival as a Disney princess, morphed into a case study. A textbook example of how a bold attempt at rebranding a classic can spiral wildly out of control into overreach and alienating the very audience you need. Whether you found her modern spin refreshing and necessary or you hated it and felt she was disrespectful, the absolute firestorm around this film and its star guaranteed one thing. Rachel Zegler's Snow White will be remembered. Oh yes, it will be remembered, but for all the spectacularly wrong reasons. It will be remembered as the Snow Woke debacle. The one roasted by The Simpsons, the one where the star hated the original prince, the one nobody went to see. When the initial media buzz finally died down, or perhaps just moved on to the next Hollywood train wreck, the cold, hard numbers told the undeniable story. The box office haul was weak, pathetically weak for a Disney live-action remake of this caliber. And the audience score? Oh honey, it collapsed. It plummeted to a dismal 1.6 on IMDb, scraping the bottom of the barrel and earning its place as one of the absolute worst audience scores in Disney history. Yikes. Just yikes. Viewers didn't just skip the film. Many seemed to actively celebrate its spectacular crash and burn. Social media was flooded with memes, viral tweets, and entire Reddit threads dedicated to dissecting how not to market a movie, using the Snow White saga as the prime example. It wasn't just apathy, it was schadenfreude on a massive, internet-wide scale. People were finding joy in the failure, which tells you just how much the public narrative had soured. Then, because this saga apparently wasn't weird enough already, things got even weirder. A fake OnlyFans account reportedly using an AI-generated image of Rachel Zegler went viral in mere hours. It was a complete fabrication, totally phony, yet thousands of people reportedly believed it was real. Why does that matter? Because it was chilling proof of just how far Rachel's public image had slipped. Her reputation had become so damaged, so distorted in the public eye, that even an absurd, clearly fake rumor felt plausible to a significant number of people. That's a PR nightmare of epic proportions. In Hollywood? Oh, honey, Hollywood was watching. You better believe they were watching with wide, calculating eyes. Casting calls that might have once highlighted Rachel's name as a major draw suddenly went quiet. Projects that were rumored to star her, they reportedly stalled out, or quietly began the process of recasting the role with someone perceived as less problematic. In the brutal, cutthroat world of Tinseltown, becoming a brand risk is like catching a highly contagious, career-ending disease. And in a single year, Rachel Zegler seemed to go from being hailed as Disney's next big thing, the industry's bright new hope, to being seen as a potential liability, a name that gave casting directors pause. To add a little extra sprinkle of personal drama on top of the professional chaos, her very public breakup with actor Josh Andres Rivera landed fresh headlines, feeding the narrative of a young star who was perhaps unraveling under the immense pressure and scrutiny. It painted a picture of a life in turmoil, mirroring the public perception of her career trajectory. And just as the dust, the memes, the think pieces, and the fake OnlyFans accounts began to settle, wham! The Simpsons struck. Their upcoming episode, featuring Snow Woke, the reimagining, is set to rehash the entire messy affair for a massive television audience. Reports about the episode detail the cartoon Rachel Z banning princes because, they're stalkers, lecturing villagers about presumably how outdated their lives are, and watching her own movie bomb in an empty theater. And then the piece de resistance of animated humiliation, a reported meltdown on Krusty the Clown's show. Because where else do Hollywood careers go to die a dramatic televised death? Honey, when Springfield turns you into a punchline, when you become a character on The Simpsons, specifically created to mock your real-life controversies and failures, you have officially crossed a threshold. You've gone from being a celebrity navigating a rough patch to becoming a spectacle, a cultural artifact of a moment in time where things went spectacularly wrong. Is there still time for a comeback? Hollywood loves a redemption arc, that is true. They adore a narrative of overcoming adversity, learning from mistakes, and rising from the ashes like a slightly less controversial phoenix. But let's not sugarcoat it, babes. The climb back up from this particular hole is steep, like Mount Everest in stilettos, steep. The box office disaster, the relentless public backlash, the reported studio silence and distancing, and now the ultimate pop culture indictment from The Simpsons, it has cracked Rachel's carefully constructed Hollywood image wide open. It's going to take more than just keeping a low profile now. It's going to take strategic choices, perhaps some very public apologies or acknowledgements, and a significant shift in public perception. Now, the world is watching. They're watching to see whether Rachel Zegler can somehow, against all odds, glue the pieces back together, whether she can navigate this unprecedented level of public scrutiny and mockery and rebuild her career, or if that sharp, yellow-skinned satire from The Simpsons just wrote the final, mocking line of her fairy tale ending. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this saga and all the other Hollywood chaos you secretly or not so secretly love to watch unfold. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next dramatic turn. Stay tuned, stay curious, and get ready for more drama, babes, because if you thought this was peak chaos, just wait. Hollywood always has another act ready. I'm Madison Starr, signing off with one last piece of advice. Never say it can't get any crazier, because in Hollywood, it always can. Stay messy, stay blessed, and I'll catch you in the next scandalous update. Cheers to Hollywood never running out of plot twists.